You can make drums like this. Or like this. This video will show you all the tricks that I learned in the last 4 years making beats. Hope you have fun. Let's go. Yo bro, what's up? Welcome to the tutorial. The first step to make good drums is to turn off your limiter. You need to go to this button to get to the mixer channel, and there's the master channel. In FL Studio, there's always like this fruity limiter on, and that's really like bad for your drums because it limits the peaks of your sounds. For example, dims your 808, your clap, it just make them sound worse. So you need to turn this off. Okay, second step, what you can use to make your drums sound high quality. For example, if I'm using this snare as my main snare, to make your drums sound good, you need to have a good foundation. So you can't just use some shitty drums and make 20 effects on them and think they will sound hard. You need to have good sounds in the first place to make them sound professional. How to find those sounds and how to make the sound combination. For example, I'm using the snare with this hi-hat. You can already hear like they're not fitting. So always replace them with another hi-hat. That's a lot better. So always like make the pattern first and then test out what sound is fitting with each other. Now the kick. I remember when I struggled like with the sound selection with drums, I just put some random ass drum sounds in the channel rack, thinking if I would just like EQ them, they would sound hard. But yeah, I realized it's also a lot easier if you have like good sounds at the start. So I can now add a kick. I think the kick sounds really good right now, but what if I change it to this kick? Yeah, I think I like the Zeus kick. Now you can add like a perk. You can add like perks. They are like there to make your beats sound more bouncy. What you can also use is an open head. It's like a hi-hat, but it's longer and can be used at the start of the beat to add like an impact effect. You can keep it like that, but you can also change like the loudness of each hi-hat in this screen. Back when I started, I didn't like know about this. I always kept the sounds at the same level, at the same loudness level, and it always sounded so robotic. I was frustrated. They didn't have any emotion. But if you, on the hi-hat for example, if you press Alt-R, this randomizer pops up, then you can change on this velocity knob and change the velocity. And you can hear instantly how realistic the different hi-hats sounding now. You can also change the panning. You can make them play on the left or on the right. Now for the 808. This is where I had like, back then, where I had the most problems with. With the 808 pattern you can be creative with this, but it's important that if you put 808s under a melody, you put them on the root note of the melody. Because if the 808 is on the different note, then the root note will sound off and it's detuned. So always keep that in mind. Like when I started making beats, I just placed them, made them all over the place. I didn't even know what root notes were. It's like, and I always was asking myself why the 808s sound so trash, why they sound so out of tune. Keep them at the root note. Also, a trick that you can use is adding another 808 to the beat. For example, we only have like one 808 in this pattern, but if you want to spice it up a little, make the beat more interesting, you can add more 808s, for example, at the end of every bar. You know, my biggest problems back then were really the 808 and the hi-hat. For example, how to make my hi-hat more bouncy, interesting. Simple trick that you can use. For example, if you don't want a two-step hi-hat, you can make a different pattern. For example, you delete some hi-hats to add more bounce to the beat. You can also add hi-hat rolls. They are like multiple hi-hats in a row and make a velocity stair, how I call it. You just put them from quietest to the loudest. You can make multiple ones. You can make shorter rolls or longer rolls. They just need to be like on good spots. The difference between a good and a bad drum pattern. Now time to mix the drums. Mixing drums is actually easier than you think it is. Back then in 2019 I struggled a lot with mixing my drums, especially with the 808. I didn't know if my 808 was too loud or too quiet. I was really like unsure about how the drums should sound in relation to the melody. What I learned is you are not like an audio engineer or mixing engineer where you need to be like looking for the best loudness, for the perfect loudness range. Your beats need to be smashing. They need to be hard. No rapper asks you how loud your beat is. If they think it's hard, they will rap over it. Doesn't matter if it goes over 0 or if it's distorts. They doesn't care about that. They don't even know what it even means. So always try to go with the mindset with that your beats need to smash. Doesn't matter how you do this. So don't be too perfect about this, if you know what I mean. A trick that I use for mixing my beats is starting with the 808 first, putting it all the way up, but not starting to mix it. I start to mix with the snare. For me, it's better to have the 808 on the side where I can hear like where the other sounds would fit perfectly. So I put like a low cut, I put an EQ on the snare, cut out some space in the mids. The hi-hat, I already hear that I can make it a little bit higher. To cut out the low frequencies, because they are bad for if your 808 plays, it takes up all this space, so you need to cut off frequencies of all the other sounds in this space, so the 808 have more freedom to play, if you know what I mean. The kick I can make also a little bit louder. This sounds hard like this. If you think your sound doesn't need more effects, if it sounds good like this, then just leave it. Don't overcomplicate it. Perks, I always make them a little bit quieter because there are too much things that are loud. In this example, I keep the perks a little bit quiet, make them a little bit quieter. With the open head. With this 808, this is more like an instrument where I can get creative. That's a nice example of hard hitting drums. And you see, we only use the EQ to cut out some frequencies. For the 808, cut out the highs, make the highs quieter. This is the example how the drums would sound under a melody. Have fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you want to become good at making beats quick, click the link down below and I will help you with that. See you in the next.